Hi, this is Donata Guerra of Bordeaux Lane Studio, and I'm sitting on the floor of my living room today. I promised that I would come back to talk about some more of the mythological art that Lynn Wogan and I are creating in watercolors. And we've been inspired by the stories of these gods and goddesses of ancient Greece and Rome, but also in particular visually by the ancient coin emblems. And the last one that I had done, if you remember, was Janus, the Roman god of portals and entries, who is the two-faced god in profile, as he's represented on an ancient Roman coin, and the obverse of this coin shows the prow of a Roman ship and the words Roma. And this, of course, is available on both of my websites. I've created a new website in addition to Bordeaux Lane Studio, and I'll give you that address at the end of the talk here. And my inspiration right now is this image of Athena, and this is from an ancient 3rd century Greek coin out of Corinth. So she is represented in a Corinthian cap or helmet, and the obverse of this is Pegasus, who was a figure much I would say venerated in that area of the world. So he is closely tied to Athena in the myth. And we will be doing a video with art of Pegasus, the next one coming up. But to concentrate on Athena, I wanted to just speak briefly about a painting that first came to my attention several years ago. And this is a classical work by Vouet, who was the court of France painter at the beginning of the 17th century. So roughly in around 1620, he was working in either Italy or in Paris. And this is his depiction of Anne of Austria, who was the wife of Louis XIII. And when Louis XIII died, she pulled off quite a coup in gaining power as the regent for Louis XIV. So Vouet, who was a classical artist tending into the Baroque, represented her typically with the icons that are associated with the goddess Minerva or Athena, and that would be the owl for wisdom. On the front, there's a breastplate with the face of the Gorgon, because she was, of course, an enemy of them and a slayer of Gorgons, and also the helmet. And the mythology of Athena is that she was the daughter of Zeus, who sprung fully clothed out of his head and fully armored. Now, this is a myth that Homer himself eschewed. So there were other takes on her origin. However, this is the greatest association of her myth. And here she is as represented by Lynn Wogan in this wonderful watercolor where she's in the helmet. It has a vibrant orange-yellow color, and there's some beautiful, not exactly pink, but a fuchsia color. And then also getting more into the myth of Athena, here she is in my watercolor. This is from an ancient Hellenistic coin, not necessarily out of Corinth, but again, I wanted to represent her with the helmet, with the gold of the coin. And getting more into the story of Athena, she represented wisdom, she represented war tempered by prudence, she was the patroness of the art, and also the giver of the olive tree. And again, as we saw, she was represented by the owl, the serpent, and sometimes by the cock. And she's known as the tamer of Pegasus. So the next video we'll be talking about Pegasus. And then, this is the other one I did. This is the representation on the Corinthian coin. And I gave her blonde tresses. She was not necessarily blonde, but you can do anything you want with watercolor. And I think these profiles are particularly fascinating. These coins get squashed after centuries. So I'm trying to show that the coin is misshapen as well. And the other thing about Athena is that she was associated, she's called Pallas Athena, Pallas, which is a reference to a giant she slew, but there's also some mythology that held that he fathered her in contrast to Zeus, or to Zeus's head. Pallas represents also a maiden, and this is really a visual metaphor for a woman of intellect, a woman of strength and determination, who is also potentially a threat to men. And I guess what I would like to do is just go off on a little bit of a tangent, because there may be some people who are thinking that this appreciation of ancient culture is tied into goddess worship. That's not what's going on here. This is an appreciation of ancient history, of ancient thought, of scholarship, modern and ancient, and also the fact that people try to explain things. And how did they explain it? They made up a story. And the story of maybe how women become determined, how things happened in history, how wars turned out. That's basically what goes on with mythology, stories. And getting back to Athena, her counterpart in Roman mythology is the goddess Minerva. And there is also a beautiful piece of music composed by the late British composer Taverner called The Hymn to Athene. And this is not associated with the goddess Athena. This was an elegiac piece of music composed for a young woman who died tragically and prematurely. But it is a beautiful piece of music. I encourage you to look into Taverner's work, which you may have heard when it was performed at the funeral of Princess Diana. And secondly, look up the artist Simon Vouet, the French artist, Vouet, because his works are really wonderful, but you generally won't find them reproduced in your art history textbooks from college. And then finally, to get back to where you can find these works, they are up at Amazon.com. What is this? Amazon.com/handmade/Bordeaux Lane Studio, all one word. And then my new Etsy site, ancientmythologyart.etsy.com. Come visit and see what Lynn and I are up to as we continue our explorations. The next talk will be on Pegasus, and after that we're going to be doing either Aphrodite, or maybe we'll switch to a male figure and do Zeus. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.